Dear Radiant Leo, if you've seen ants in your home lately, stop scrolling. There's a reason you've landed on this video right now. This isn't a coincidence. This is a divine signal. God is breaking the silence, and He's using the smallest of messengers to awaken the fiercest part of you, your inner fire. This message is for you, and only you. Those ants weren't random. They are spiritual symbols, tiny messengers sent to deliver something only your soul can truly understand. In today's video, we're going to explore why the universe and yes, even God chose this moment to get your attention through such an unlikely sign. Welcome back to Eternal Mindfulness, where every video is more than just a horoscope, it's a journey back to your higher self. And Leo, you of all signs know this. Your fire was never meant to flicker in the background. You were born to blaze, to lead, to build, and to inspire. But lately, have you felt like your passion's been scattered? Have your goals been dimmed by distractions, or dulled by burnout? That's where the ants come in. You see, in astrology, Leo is ruled by the sun, the great illuminator. But even the sun rises through the horizon 1 degree at a time. Ants symbolize order, persistence, discipline, and collective power. And when they show up in a Leo space, it's not to invadites to realign. So let me ask you something. Where exactly did you see those ants? On your desk? By your bed? Crawling near your front door? These aren't just places, theory, metaphysical coordinates in your life map. Each one holds clues about your current path, and the inner fire that's either waiting to rise or begging not to burn out. Leo, you didn't click on this video by chance. In fact, the very idea of coincidence fades when you start living in alignment. You're here because your spirit is ready to receive. You're here because the version of you that leads with purpose has been whispering for your attention, and the universe just sent backup in the form of ants. So before we dive in, take a moment with me to reflect. What drew you here today? What emotion rose when you saw those ants? Was it curiosity or recognition? And if this message already feels like it's speaking directly to your life, pause now and comment below where and when you saw the ants. Was it morning or night? One or many? That simple detail might be the doorway to everything you're about to discover. I read every comment, and your experience may help others make sense of their own. Now, allow me to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude for your presence here. Every like, every comment, every share, every subscription draws you closer into the Eternal Mindfulness family. And your support doesn't just help this channel grow, it allows these messages to reach the very people who need them the most. So stay with me until the very last second of this video, Leo. What's about to be revealed will challenge you, empower you, and remind you of something you may have forgotten. Your fire is not fading, it's being refocused. And the ants were only the beginning. Let's begin. Dear Leo, when the fire within you meets the patient rhythm of the earth, something rare and deeply powerful begins to stir. You are ruled by the sun, the bold heart of the zodiac, designed to shine, to express, to create with unfiltered passion. Your essence is warmth and movement, charisma and color. And yet, what happens when that fire burns without shape, without a vessel to contain it? It scorches. It scatters. It exhausts itself. That is why the ants have a Pareto ground you, not to limit your light, but to help it last. Ants, in their subtle, tireless movements, are not just creatures of instinct. They are symbols of sacred rhythm, of quiet commitment, of purpose-driven work that builds empires grain by grain. Where your flame wants to leap toward the heavens, their energy draws you into the now. They carry not just crumbs, but reminders that structure is not your enemy, that order is not restriction, but freedom in its truest form. Without earth, fire rages aimlessly. But with earth, fire becomes the hearth. It warms. It sustains. It creates sanctuary. This meeting between Leo and the ant is not a battle between chaos and control, it is an invitation to partnership. It asks, what if your dreams had bones? What if your passion had a framework? What could you build then? These are not rhetorical questions. They are sacred ones. Because when your inner fire is met with the steadiness of ant energy, what results is not a dimming of your flame but the forging of something lasting, something legacy-worthy. Let's look deeper. The Strength card in Tarot doesn't show violence. It shows a woman calmly taming a lion, not with force, but with presence. That is your lesson here. You do not need more intensity, you already have that. What you need now is consistency, trust, a quiet return to the center. Strength is not found in how loudly you roar, but in how deeply you breathe when no one is watching. It is the grace of showing up again and again, even when applause has faded. The ants, with their unglamorous, repeated movements, embody that truth in miniature. They model what it looks like to choose purpose over drama, devotion over distraction. And then there is the Emperor. His throne is made of stone, not fire. He does not command with emotion, but with structure, vision, and grounded leadership. You are being asked to step into this role not as a dictator of your life, but as a conscious builder of it. To lead not by impulse, but by intention. To be less about conquering moments and more about constructing a meaningful path. This is your kingdom. But even kings must learn how to manage the land before they can rule it wisely. In a more contemplative sense, the message is even clearer. You are not being punished by delay or confusion. You are being refined. You are learning the value of deliberate steps. You are being taught that devotion is greater than urgency. Like a lotus rising slowly through the mud, there is beauty in your unfolding, even when you can't yet see the bloom. Sometimes the way to expand is not by doing more but by being more fully present with what already is. So as you reflect on the appearance of these tiny architects in your life, don't brush them aside. Watch. Listen. Learn. Their presence is a sacred mirror showing you what your spirit already knows, that your fire was never meant to be wild and brief, it was meant to be focused, sustained, and unstoppable. The ants are here not to extinguish you, Leo, but to remind you, your light, when given direction, can build worlds. When we begin to observe the seemingly ordinary moments in our lives through the eyes of awareness, we discover that nothing is ever truly random. The way ants move, the places they choose to appear, the patterns they create, these small behaviors are not just biological responses. They carry metaphors that whisper to your deeper self, inviting you to look beyond the surface. For Leo, a sign born to command presence and lead with boldness, the appearance of ants in specific behaviors is not simply coincidence. It is a mirror held up to your internal landscape, one that reflects not only where your energy is going but how it's being shaped. When ants appear walking in straight lines, perfectly aligned in a rhythmic march, it speaks to the clarity of direction. This is not about moving quickly, but moving with intention. For Leo, whose creative fire can sometimes leap before it lands, this is a reminder that inspiration without structure is like fire without form. It burns brightly, but briefly. Straight-line behavior from ants tells you it's time to channel your passion into a focused plan. Structure doesn't limit you, it empowers you. The more clearly you define your steps, the more effectively your light reaches others. Think of it as turning a wild flame into a lighthouse beam. Still brilliant, but now purposeful. But if the ants are scattered, disorganized, or moving in zigzags without a clear route, the reflection shifts. This behavior often points to inner dispersion. Your fire may be burning in too many directions, split between too many yes, chasing applause on multiple stages. You may be busy, but not productive. Active, but not aligned. When the ants lose their path, it could mean that you've lost yours too, not in a dramatic sense, but perhaps in the gentle forgetting of what matters most. Their chaos invites you to pause and choose. What project, what calling, what version of yourself deserves your full devotion right now? Because clarity isn't something you wait for, it's something you choose. Now imagine ants gathering around your desk, your studio, or wherever your creative tools live. This is not by accident. Ants are master builders. When they appear around the very space where your ideas take shape, they're telling you that the soil is fertile. The time is now. This is your season to build, not just dream. Your ideas are not just concepts, theory, blueprints for something real. But you must show up, with your full energy and not just your excitement. It's like the old teaching that says, when the student is ready, the tools appear. But in your case, the tools were always there. You just needed to remember how powerful your hands are. Then come the ants near mirrors. This is a subtle but profound symbol. The mirror reflects identity, ego, self-perception. When ants move around mirrors, it's an invitation to look inward and ask, who is leading right now, the true self or the performance of self? Leo is the royal sign of self-expression, but even royalty must pause to assess whether their crown is still sitting on a foundation of truth. Confidence, when untethered, becomes arrogance. But when rooted in self-awareness, it becomes magnetism. The ants remind you to examine how you see yourself, and whether that image still fits the person you're becoming. And perhaps the most awe-inspiring image of all, an ant carrying a piece of food 3 times its size. This tiny creature defies logic, gravity, and proportion, and yet it does not struggle. It simply moves forward. When you see this, understand that a responsibility is arriving in your life that may seem too big at first glance. A new role. A bold step. A dream that frightens you with its scale. But just like the ant, you are built for it. Strength is not always about size or speed. Sometimes it's about stillness, trust, and one determined step at a time. The burden is not here to crush you, it's here to reveal what you've always carried inside, the capacity to lead with grace. So, dear Leo, I ask you now, where have the ants been showing up in your life? What patterns have you seen? Their path is not random, it is your spirit's map, drawn on the floor of your own home. Share with us in the comments where you saw them, and what they were doing. Your observation may unlock a message not just for you, but for someone else in our shared journey. And perhaps through these tiny footsteps, you'll begin to hear something bigger, your own soul, walking you home. Timing is not just a matter of minutes and hours, it's a frequency, a rhythm, a living pulse that shapes everything we do. When ants appear in your space, the moment they choose to arrive holds just as much meaning as where and how they move. For Leo, whose energy is naturally driven by the radiance of the sun and the urge to express, timing is more than a backdrop, it's the canvas upon which your leadership unfolds. To understand the deeper message of the ants, you must tune into when they show up, because time itself becomes a teacher. If you've noticed ants in the early morning, around dawn, it's more than a call to wake up physically, it's an energetic awakening. Dawn represents potential, the in-breath before the action, the first golden thread of creation. When ants appear at this time, it signals that a new opportunity is approaching your horizon, and the universe is urging you to step into it before others see it. It's about catching momentum in its purest form, and shaped, yet brimming with direction. You are being called to move early, boldly, and without hesitation. Those who wait for perfect conditions may never begin, but those who rise with the first light often create the path others follow. When ants appear during the day, especially when the sun is high, it's a message of alignment, but also of responsibility. It means you're already in motion, already on a certain path, and that the universe is affirming your direction. But with this confirmation comes a challenge. You must intensify your focus and deepen your commitment. The midday sun doesn't flicker, it blazes. Likewise, your energy must be consistent, unwavering, and not swayed by momentary applause or temporary comfort. Think of it as the middle of a race. You're in it, and now is not the time to slow down. It's time to breathe into the rhythm and double down on your pace. Then comes nightfall. If the ants emerge around dusk or late at night, this speaks to results long in the making. The seeds you planted intentionally or unconsciously are beginning to rise through the soil. But here's the key: just because the results are near doesn't mean they will blossom without care. The message is one of patience, not pause. Dusk is subtle. It doesn't demand attention like midday, it invites reflection. The ants at night are like the quiet sound of drums before the curtain rises. Your stage is being set. Trust in the timing. The harvest is close, but it must ripen fully. Beyond the cycle of a day, there is the larger pattern of seasons, a mirror of your internal states. When ants arrive in the spring, they're reminding you that now is the time to sow. Spring energy is fresh, uncertain, but fertile. Start the project, open the door, say yes to the idea that has been gently tapping at your spirit. If they come during summer, it's your peak, a time of full visibility. This is when Leo shines brightest. The ants in summer are telling you, amplify your message, show up boldly, and let the world see your fire. If you find them in autumn, the energy is more introspective. It's time to gather what you've created, to refine, reassess, and store what is useful. Autumn is a sacred pause between effort and renewal. And if they come in winter, it is not a sign of stagnation, but of preparation. Beneath the frozen surface, the soil is still breathing. The ants are asking you to do the samrest wisely, not aimlessly. This is the moment to rebuild your core strength and set your intentions in quiet, knowing that the next cycle is forming beneath your stillness. To go even deeper, you can look at the numerology and color frequencies that resonate with these cycles. Spring holds the number 3, representing creativity, growth, and the fertile triad of thought, word, and action. Its corresponding color, green, is the essence of life, symbolizing heart expansion and forward movement. Summer radiates the number 8, power, manifestation, and karmic responsibility, paired with red and orange, colors of action and bold confidence. Autumn's number is 6, the number of balance and harmony, aligned with earthy browns and ochres that call for grounded evaluation. And winter carries the number 4, symbolizing inner stability and quiet strength, reflected in hues of deep gray and black, a reminder that darkness is not absence, but depth. So when the ants choose a moment to show themselves, pause and notice. What time of day is it? What season are you in, not just in the calendar, but in your own life? These tiny creatures are not just crossing your floors, they are tracing your patterns, inviting you to remember that nothing blossoms all at once. Everything has its hour, its season, its perfect breath. The ants are simply here to help you breathe in rhythm with it. When something repeatedly appears at your threshold, it is no longer just an event, it becomes a message. The places where ants enter, and the manner in which they do so, reflect the precise way energy is moving through your life. Not metaphorically, but energetically. Every doorway, every wall, every corner holds a symbolic weight, and when ants begin to cross those boundaries, they are showing you where your next chapter is forming or where something is quietly unraveling. For Leo, a sign associated with grand entrances and center stage energy, these details become even more significant. Because what walks in through your door isn't just opportunity, it's a reflection of how ready you are to receive. When ants enter through the front door, the message is simple, yet powerful. Something is coming to meet you face to face. The front door represents direct access, the type of arrival that can't be missed or ignored. These opportunities may come in the form of invitations, clear signs, or conversations that change everything. For a Leo, who thrives on recognition and visibility, this is a moment of alignment. It's the universe placing something directly in your path, in full view. The only question is, will you welcome it in with grace, or assume it's just another routine knock? Now, if the ants enter through a window, the tone shifts. This isn't about clarity. It's about surprise. The window is symbolic of side perspectives, things that come from the periphery, from unusual angles, or from people you didn't expect to play a role in your story. This is a gentle challenge to your comfort zone. Leos tend to look forward, sometimes missing what's rising quietly from the sides. But what enters through a window is often more transformative than what walks through the door, precisely because it asks you to see differently, to adjust your lens, to accept guidance or inspiration from a source that doesn't look like the one you had in mind. Then there's the most subtle and mysterious sign of all, when ants emerge from places you can't easily name. Cracks in walls, baseboards, unexpected gaps in the foundation. These are not messengers of fear, but of preparation. Something is forming behind the scenes. Something in your life is being rearranged at the root level. You might not see it, but you can sense it. This is the quiet construction of destiny, working silently beneath your awareness. The lesson here is patience without passivity. You are not being asked to chase, but to watch, to remain alert, steady, and receptive. And then comes the volume. The number of ants and the speed at which they move hold their own kind of wisdom. If you see only a few, it's a whisper. A soft nudge to listen more closely, to observe more intently. Often, when energy is still subtle, it presents itself delicately. But if the ants are many, if they come in waves, in great numbers, that is no longer a whisper. That is a call to act. It means the moment is ripe, the spotlight is on, and your hesitation could cost you the role you were born to play. The energy is not just supportive, it's insistent. And what if the number is overwhelming? More ants than you've ever seen. That's not a sign of infestation, it's a sign of ignition. The curtain is rising. This is your stage, and the universe is inviting you to step out, not later, but now. You are being shown that your gifts are needed not just in your inner circle, but out in the world. You were never meant to stay hidden, Leo. You were meant to roar in places that echo. Still, not all signs arrive as encouragement. Some arrive as warnings. If you've tried to clear the ants, yet they return, you may be resisting something essential. A truth. A task. A lesson in endurance. These ants reflect your own unwillingness to stay with something long enough to master it. And if the ants suddenly vanish, if they disappear without trace, that's not relief. That's a closing door. You may have ignored a signal for too long, and now the window has passed. And then, there are the dead ants. Tiny bodies, silent and still. It can feel unsettling, but it's not a curse. It's a closure. Something in your Lithian identity, a role, a pattern has run its course. The ants are showing you that it's time to let that version of yourself dissolve. It's time to bow, to thank the past, and to release it with peace. All of these signs, the direction, the numbers, the presence or absence, are not here to overwhelm you. They are here to clarify. To remind you that energy always moves with intention. And that everything entering or leaving your space is doing so with purpose. The question isn't whether the universe is speaking. It's whether you're ready to listen. The body speaks long before the mind has time to catch up. For Leo, whose fire burns bright, whose energy is designed to inspire, to move, to express, it can be easy to overlook the subtle signs of depletion. You power through. You keep showing up. But even the sun rests at night. When stress accumulates in silence, it often hides beneath your performance of strength. You may not name it as exhaustion, but your body does. The heaviness in your chest, the scattered sleep, the quiet irritation, these are not weaknesses. They are invitations to pause. Simple practices like sun salutations at dawn, a brisk walk before the world wakes up, or a warm glass of lemon water with honey can shift your internal rhythm gently, returning you to your own center. Foods rich in zinc and deep-colored berries don't just nourish your physical body, they support clarity, resilience, and immune vitality, especially when your outer world demands so much of you. When it comes to work, Leo, your flame was never meant to flicker under routine. You thrive when purpose meets presence. But lately, have you felt scattered, torn between projects, chasing timelines, juggling inspiration like it's a burden instead of a gift? If ants have gathered near your desk or studio, that's not random. It's a mirror. Their presence is not just a sign of productivity, it's a message about how your energy is being used. Ants don't multitask. They focus, commit, carry what needs to be carried, and return. Let that image guide you. This is the time to choose one meaningful project that reflects your deeper self. Pour your energy into what both excites and sustains you. Let it be something that doesn't just look good, but feels right, something that brings you home to yourself every time you touch it. Financially, you've been learning that passion without planning can burn through resources quickly. Ants carrying food are not hoarders, they are strategists. If you've noticed them transporting small bits of nourishment, it's a reminder that every bit of abundance you create needs a place to land, to rest, to grow. Saving is not a restriction, it's a sacred form of protection for future opportunities. If ants are simply roaming, not carrying, this is a sign that abundance is near, but it will only stick if your energy is stable enough to receive it. Wealth isn't just a matter of action, it's a state of inner readiness. Be mindful of where your money flows, but also of where your energy leaks. Where there is alignment, money follows without strain. In love, Leo often plays the role of the giver, the performer of affection, the generous heart, the radiant presence. But sometimes, beneath that warmth is a quiet withholding. You may dress your emotions in confidence, but you know when your truth is being held back. If the ants have visited your bedroom, this is not about logistics, it's about vulnerability. It's time to let yourself be fully seen, not just adored. Don't be afraid to reveal what's behind the curtain, to speak the unpolished truth, even when it trembles in your voice. Love is not sustained by perfection, but by presence. The courage to say, I need, I'm afraid, I don't know, these are not cracks in your image. They are the very windows where connection begins to breathe. There is a quiet wisdom that teaches, what we nourish, flourishes. The body, the mind, the finances, the heart, each is a garden. And Leo, you are the sun it waits for. But even the sun must rise with rhythm, not force. So let this moment be one where you return to yourself, not with judgment, but with deep honoring. Tend to your flame, not because it is fading, but because it deserves to keep burning with clarity, with purpose, and with peace. So now, dear Leo, take a quiet breath with me. After everything we've explored together, the silent signals, the sacred timing, the mirrored behaviors, you may realize the ants were never just ants. They were an echo of your own energy, gently calling you back to your core. Not to fix anything. Not to prove anything. But to remember who you truly are when no one's watching. The one who leads not from noise, but from clarity. The one who inspires not by demanding attention, but by choosing alignment again and again. The universe didn't choose someone else. It chose you. Or maybe, just maybe, you chose this message long ago, and life simply found a way to deliver it back to you in perfect timing. And how beautifully poetic that it came in the smallest form, an ant. So humble. So consistent. So full of quiet wisdom. It reminds us that transformation doesn't always arrive in grand gestures. Sometimes, it begins when you finally decide to listen to the part of you that already knows. You don't need to wait for permission to rise. You don't need another sign to believe in what you're building. And you certainly don't need the world to applaud your first step. The light you've been waiting for is already within you. You are the fire. You are the structure. You are the leader of your own becoming. All you need now is the discipline to nurture what truly matters and the courage to release what no longer does. So, ask yourself, what part of today's message stirred something in you? Which detail, whether it was the time the ants appeared, the place they gathered, or the way they moved, spoke most directly to your current season of life? And more importantly, what will you do differently after hearing it? These are not rhetorical questions, theory invitations. And I would love to hear your answer in the comments below. Tell me, where did the ants appear? What were they doing? What do you believe they were trying to show you? Every time you share, you not only anchor the message more deeply into your own consciousness, you help another Leo on their path. That's the beauty of community, of shared awakening. What opens in you might unlock something in someone else. Before we part, let me offer something simple, but sincere. Thank you. Thank you for showing up for yourself by staying until the end of this video. Thank you for giving your energy to this space, this moment, this message. Every view, every like, every thoughtful comment you leave, every subscription you make, you don't take it lightly. Here at Eternal Mindfulness, you're not just an audience. You are part of something sacred. A movement of seekers, healers, and light bearers who are all, in their own way, coming home to themselves. So if today's message touched you, if it gave you even one moment of clarity or peace, I invite you to join us more deeply. Like this video if it resonated. Subscribe if you haven't already. And turn on the bell, so you won't miss the next message that the universe crafts especially for you. Until then, remember, the flame within you was never meant to stay small. And no matter how quietly the ants may walk, they are showing you one simple, powerful truth: you are not here to wait for the light. You are here to become it. I'll see you soon. Keep shining, Leo.